Good morning. I hope you are all well this morning. If you are joining me for the first time today, I'll give you a bit of context for this video. You might know that my name is Debbie and I am the owner of this page, The Shrink on Your Couch. I am a psychologist in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I own this online platform by the same name, The Shrink on Your Couch. I have a few interests in terms of articles that I write and courses that I create and sell for people to work through in the comfort of their own home. But one of my interest areas is relationships and the success and satisfaction and fulfillment of people's relationships. And as a consequence of that, I'm quite concerned about couples who are going through quite a lot of issues, who are in close confinement during this lockdown period. And so I thought that I would pop on daily for the course of our lockdown in South Africa. I know that many of the followers of this page are not in South Africa, but I also know that 40% of the world are in some degree of quarantine. So it's probably relevant irrespective of where you are. But that I'd pop on every day for 21 days and challenge you to follow a book that I'm working through called The Love Dare. Which gives couples a dare per day for 40 days. We're on day 3 if you're working with me. Basically what the Love Dare is, just to repeat the context, is that it's a parable. The story goes that a husband was absolutely fed up with his marriage. He went to his own father and expressed this to him, saying, I'm done with this, I want out. His father said, hold on a second, look, I'm not thrilled, but please do this. Gave him the Love Dare and said, if you work through this methodically and in 40 days time you still want out, then I'll be your greatest supporter and proponent, and I'll be satisfied that at least you tried. Because probably based on the idea that people maybe give up before, without satisfying themselves that they really have tried to work on their relationships. So day 1, which was 3 days ago, was simply to resolve to say nothing negative to your partner on that day, which in all truth is probably the hardest dare in all 40 days. And when I position that with couples in my practice, I say, look, this is really difficult because how do you get through 16 waking hours, assuming that you sleep for 8 hours a night? If you're really at odds with each other, it's really difficult to just shut up for 16 hours. But resolve to say nothing negative to your partner. If you can't say anything positive, just say nothing at all. Sometimes it's better to just hold your tongue. And I say to couples or individuals that I'm coaching in this way in my practice, that if you mess this up in the course of a day, then just start tomorrow with day 1 again. Tomorrow is your day 1, but you have to get this principle right, because you have to master this thing. You have to get through a day without without lashing out at your partner. It's a really, really fundamental, critical tool, and a bedrock that has to be laid in a relationship in order for it to move forward productively. It's probably what's the right word? The first assault that we unleash on our relationships when things start to go wrong, when we start to contaminate our relationships with toxic conflict, is abusing each other verbally in some way. So that was day 1. Resolve to say nothing negative to your partner. And maybe today you're still on day 1. If you mastered that, then you had to move on to being kind. And that was yesterday. You had to say nothing negative and you had to be kind. And today is day 3, if you're with me. But it poses a bit of a challenge for us in lockdown, because on day 3, we're supposed to buy something for our partners to express to them that we're invested. And this is not supposed to be anything of great financial value. That's not the point. But the way that the author writes this up is that we're supposed to express our investment in the relationship by showing that we've thought of the person when they're not around. Now, I'm not going to encourage this at all in any way, shape, or form, because I don't think we're supposed to be leaving our homes. And even if we're going shopping today, I don't think we're supposed to be buying luxuries, and I don't think we're supposed to be spending any time out or buying anything that isn't absolutely essential, quick in and out. So what I'm going to make a different recommendation based on something completely unrelated. So we're going to suspend, oh, there goes my alarm. That's the time I was supposed to be waking up this morning. So I'm going to suspend the author's day 3 and modify it for a lockdown day 3. So rather than buying something, I'd prefer you don't buy anything today at all, unless you need bread and milk. Rather, I'd like to tell you about something that I'm noticing people are struggling with in lockdown from what I'm being told. I've worked with probably 20 or 30 people in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And one of the things that a lot of people the world over are battling with is to connect with their partner in this unusual lockdown space that we're in. And the irony is, there's always irony that abounds, but the irony is that we're battling to connect despite the fact that we're spending 24 hours shut down together, or shut in together. And it reminds me of a metaphor or an analogy that's often used in marriage counseling modalities, drawing parallels between some marriages and 2 or 3-year-old children playing together. And the idea that 2 or 3-year-old children, a very particular developmental stage in childhood, tend to play next to each other, but not with each other. And this is often posed as an example for why couples who work together or run businesses together often struggle in their intimate life or in their marriages, because they spend so much time together, working next to each other, busy alongside each other, and somehow they then just accept that they are that everything is fine, but they never actually play with each other. They never do something that's meaningful in their interaction together. They never have joy. They never have a game. They never have fun. They never actually dissolve into each other and have hysterics amongst themselves or whatever it is. And so what might be happening in this unnatural time of inordinate togetherness is that we're playing next to each other but not with each other. And so on day 3 of the Love Dare, rather than buying something for each other, I'd like to modify that and ask that sometime today, the 2 of you do something that would be construed as playing with each other rather than next to each other. So whether that's cooking a meal together, having a bit of a date night where you set the table and light a candle and put the kids to bed. That would never happen in our house. Our children are maniacs and go to bed probably later than we do. Whether that's going for a swim and actually enjoying it, but something where you actually look at your partner and realize that you want to have fun with this human. I've spoken to some of my individuals and my couples about having a little oasis time where you go and make coffee and you go and sit in the garden in the sun. We don't have much sun today, but where you actually go and sit outside and spend some quality time together and you just chat. And to my point yesterday, back to basics. You just remember who the 2 of you are, your essence, what it means to be the 2 of you in this madness, in this chaos, because that's what's going to get you through. It's always going to be connection to self and connection to the essence of your coupleship, coupledom, your marriage, in all the mayhem, all the chaos that's going on, back to basics, back to essence will always be what calms you down, what quells the anxiety, what gives you a sense that all will be well, this too shall pass, it's not the end of the world, even if it feels like the end of the world. So that's where I'd like you to be working today. So rather than buying things, even if you're going out, please don't buy things that are unnecessary. I think that's just probably contrary to what we've been told, and I don't want to give that sort of advice. So day one is to resolve to say nothing negative to your partner. If you're still struggling with that, that's your mandate for the day. Day two was just to be kind, which is a follow-on from day one. Day three, modified by the shrink on your couch, is to play with each other rather than just next to each other, and to be aware of that risk of playing next to each other rather than with. So I wish you well with that, and I hope that all's going well. I think a lot of people are starting to feel a bit pressure cookerish and a bit over it, but we've got a long way to go, so we just need to keep acknowledging our feelings, because that somehow alleviates them, that relieves them. Just taking a deep breath and saying, what am I feeling today? What's going on for me internally? Somehow that just lightens the load a bit and makes it easier to keep going. Remember that there are all sorts of people out there who are willing and able to assist. Many of the normal forums that are available for mental health assistance aren't available in their ordinary format, but so many of us are available online, whether via Zoom or all sorts of things. So find us, because we are here. All the best, and I wish you a happy, what are we today? Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Chat soon. Bye-bye.